Hi, I'm Alicia. I'm a psychiatric nurse practitioner and I own my own private practice, and I teach other psych NPs how to find freedom and balance by opening their own private practices as well. The topic of today's video is going to be how to get the most out of your conference going. As really any healthcare professional, I think this could apply, but we'll talk about psych NPs because on this channel, that's what we do. But today I am at the last day of NP Institute. This conference is put on by Psych Congress. They have conferences, they have a lot of conferences. They have Elevate, which is for new mental health professionals, psychiatrists, nurse practitioners getting into the field. They have one about psychotherapy. They have like the annual Psych Congress, and then Psych NP Institute, where they're talking a lot about psychopharmacology. It is, there's a lot of pharma that is here. And so there's a lot of talks on just like new drugs coming out, as well as talks that are, you know, not connected to pharma, that are from the Psych Congress faculty, and they're it's largely psychopharmacology. So this is 2024, and if anyone's interested, basically some of the talks were perinatal depression, psychedelics, and how they relate to mental health, with the clinical trials that are going on right now. There was a talk on borderline personality disorder, recognition and how to talk to patients that have it, how to talk to them about their diagnosis and treatment. And so anyway, those were a couple of my favorite talks that I went to, but there was a lot of other really pertinent topics that are, hot in mental health right now. So let's talk about how to get the most out of conferences. I'm probably going to tell you some stuff that you'd be a little surprised. And that'll be further kind of towards the end of the video. We'll talk about the ones that are more typical here in the beginning. So first, I recommend looking at the agenda at the beginning of each day and looking at the whole agenda before you even go. And I recommend writing, circling the talks that you have to go to, like must go to, and then talks that would be like nice to go to. The reason for that is conferences require a lot of stamina. And so you're gonna want to really think about, if you're the type of person that can sit for 8 hours and listen to talks and really standing up every hour to 90 minutes and that's it. Some of the talks do have, lunches and food involved, but it's a lot of sitting. So you have to think about your stamina and how much you can tolerate, and then just don't have too high of expectations for yourself. And so, write down must go to and then nice to go to, and then think about taking breaks for yourself on the topics that you're not so interested in. And if you want some guidance on what you should go to versus nice to go to, I highly recommend you think about what's applicable at your current job and then think about things that you want to do in the future. I think some people make the mistake of only going to talks that they're interested in being involved in the future, and they don't do any talks that are related to current practice. Even if you don't like your current job, you're still there. It's still important that you give excellent care to the patients that you're treating right now. And so I do recommend that you go to talks that are applicable now, and then sprinkled in with some talks that you're interested in the future. For example, if you're working inpatient, you're going to want to go to a couple of inpatient talks, even if your dream is to eventually do, say, outpatient perinatal mental health or something like that. You'll want to go to, a mix of topics really for that reason. Next, it's really important to pace yourself. And I touched on this a little bit earlier, and I'll tell you a little bit about what I mean by that. Pacing yourself is that you're gonna need breaks. I'll tell you what I do, so maybe you won't feel so guilty, is honestly, I can only go to 2 or 3 talks a day, and most days there's like 5 to 10 talks And I really can only get through like 3, maybe 4 at the most, before I need a nap, or I need to just like walk outside, or need to have lunch with a friend, or whatever. If finances allow, I also highly recommend staying at the hotel where the conference is, so that it's easy to go take a nap. And then maybe if you like a talk that's at 2 and then a talk that's at 4, you know, it's 2 to 3, and then you only have like the 3 to 4 block open that you can run, you know, rest and then come back. Whereas if you have to, you know, walk half a mile to your Airbnb or whatever and walk back, that's an hour, you know, you might lay down for 10 minutes. So, you know, finances willing, I do highly recommend staying where the conference actually is being held. Next, I recommend talking to anyone. I'm not going to say anyone and everyone, you know, don't feel stressed that you have to talk to everyone, but talk to whoever's around you. If you're at a pharma talk to whoever's sitting by you. If you're at the exhibit hall, talk to the exhibitors. If you're in a talk, you know, turn to the person next to you and say, oh, have you ever used this medication? You know, not in the middle or anything, but, or you might want to be disruptive like that. No, I'm just kidding. You know, but I do recommend talking to people, because you really never know. Like, you never know. This is another thing that I recommend, is just being like respectful and kind to everyone. You never know. I mean, like, you should do that as a human being anyway, but you never know who you're going to run into. Conferences were how I got my dream RN job. I had always dreamed of working at UCLA. I was rejected there as a new grad. But I eventually worked there once I got some experience, and it's because I met their nurse educator that was on the pediatric inpatient unit at a conference, and I emailed her literally every like 90 days or something like that. You know, she was like, there's no openings now. And I would say, hey, remember me from the conference? Is there openings yet? You know, I wasn't ridiculous. You know, I'd email her maybe every 2 to 3 months and check in. And eventually, after a year of persistence, she was like, yeah, we have a job opening, and I'm going to be the one to interview you, and I'm going to recommend you right away because I know you, you know. And that came from just talking to random people at a conference. So I do recommend just talking to people. Next is meet up with friends. Keep those professional connections strong. And those could be friends from your area. Those could be friends, you know, if you go to the same conferences over and over again. It could be that you're just recognizing people. I'm going to put some cute little clips up here on me meeting with my friends that I made in Instagram. Basically, they also do Instagram. One is Kirby, and the other one's Dr. Lindsay, and her sister. And that was so much fun. And we just met up. You know, my mom always told me not to make friends on the internet, but here we are. It worked out. And then I'm going to put another cute little clip over here of me meeting up with my mentees. So as you guys probably know, I do private practice mentorship for Psych NPs, and so we had a mentee lunch, and it was about 6 of us, which was so fun. And so we met up in real life. I had only met one of them in real life before this conference, and so I said, hey guys, like, in my mentorship group, who's at NP Institute? And you know, a bunch of them were there. So that was really fun. Really, really fun. We got tacos. And yes, that was a tax write-off, that lunch. So always thinking about business, right? So anyway, those are my biggest tips. I think the ones that are going to surprise you the most is the fact that I don't go to every talk, that I mostly meet up with friends. Like, a lot of conferencing is networking, and I feel like I get good psychopharm updates by going to a few talks per day. I don't feel like I have to go to everything. A lot of people think that they're going to be like bad if they, you know, ditch or whatever, but that might surprise you that I don't, you know, go to a ton of talks because I need to pace myself. I really do. And just like, I need to pace my body. I need to pace my mind. And to be honest, don't feel bad about making it a working vacation. You know, this whole thing was a write-off, and the huge benefit of being self-employed is that this can be a write-off, this can be a business trip, and I tend to go to conferences that are in fun locations. This one is in San Diego. It's right on the water. You know, we're going to the beach, you know, and I truly think that that's a huge benefit of being an entrepreneur, is that you just won't, like, I can't think of a job that would have paid for me to do this, but here we are, getting paid for a working vacation and to hang out with my friends and learn some psychopharm updates. It's great. Hope that helps, and I'll see you guys in the next video.